At an ancient library enveloped in the blackness of night, books began to hum their stories. Hidden behind the dusty appearance are countless miracles waiting for the reader to unfold. Illuminating this place, other than the dim silver moonlight, there are only rows of magically flickering candles. In the middle of a lonely landscape, many multicolored lights suddenly sparkled from a fairy who sneaked into the library at forbidden hours to have adventures in the stories that were hidden in books. Passing through rows of books covered in dust, silhouetted under the moonlit window, she stopped when her ears heard the strong invitation from the book hidden behind a pile of scrolls. The book is not thick, in fact, there are not many really thick books. Its title gradually fades over time. The cover is thick with wood. And in front is an image of two girls standing facing each other. "Then choose this book," she whispered, using all her strength to open the book. Immediately, from inside the book, a calm lake surface appeared, and without hesitation, the fairy plunged into it. In a certain kingdom, an evil woman swapped bodies with a beautiful princess, turning her into a commoner and then pushing that victim away from the palace. Poor princess. After a sleep, she suddenly lost everything from her position, family, and body. She, Aurora, was struggling and had no one to rely on. That's how the story begins. Unfortunately, our fairy couldn't see more about this beginning because it was too late, so the book skipped the opening paragraph and took her to the place it was telling. Currently, Aurora is talking to a mysterious man. According to the plot, he is a magician who will help her get everything back. This man is tall and thin, wears glasses, and wears a very elegant brown vest. He promised the princess that he would help her in return for some reward that the fairy had not yet heard of. The plan begins, and the man transforms into an attendant. And Aurora will be a noble lady. They became a group traveling from a faraway country. At the palace, the tour group easily bypassed the soldiers and the king. They were given a good place to rest and could freely visit most places in the palace. According to the plan, they will find the place where the evil women performed the body exchange spell with Aurora and then destroy it, bringing everything back to order. Unfortunately, when they arrived at the sanctuary, they encountered the villain there, at which point the magician quietly left while Aurora stayed to buy time. Two beautiful girls face each other. One has white color from hair, eyes, and clothes, with a young face and a venomous snake heart. The other is dressed in sumptuous clothes with strong patterns, hair as golden as sunlight, and strong blue eyes. The two glared at each other for a long time and then slowly talked like close friends who hadn't seen each other for a long time. The witch was calm when talking to the princess because she was confident that no one could discover the magic she had drawn. But she never expected Aurora to see the ancient matrix used to protect the royal family hidden in the temple. That matrix had already been modified by her, and it's broken. But who would have thought that just a few drops of royal blood would restart the matrix? The most hateful thing is that there is only one last step left before this matrix will be disabled. The whole floor lit up when drops of blood fell from the bottle in Aurora's hand, and the center of the magic circle showed a red eye used to disrupt the protection of the royal family. The witch's magic disappeared, and that woman also returned to her original form with orange-red eyes. Quick as lightning, Aurora used the knife hidden behind her back to rush forward and stab the eye shape on the floor, causing her opponent to fall to her knees and shed tears. Those tears were dark red, falling to the ground and turning into tiny gemstones. This made the witch mad as if she had lost her reason. She jumped into the person in front of her, struggling with her endlessly. Of course, Aurora is no longer a weak princess. She is now capable of fighting this woman. The clock chimed, echoing throughout the library, causing the fairy to shiver and leave the book. Already in the morning, it was almost time for the librarian to check. If she was discovered, she wouldn't be able to return to this place again. So the little fairy quickly flew to the huge clock tower located right in the middle of the library. After 12 chimes, the big door would open. So she decided to move the minute hand back half an hour to have more time for herself. Why only half an hour? Because this is a magic clock. The fairy has to spend a lot of power to move the clock's needle, and she doesn't have much. After finishing her work, she immediately flew back to the lake in the book, diving into it again. Back to the story. At this point, the developments have progressed quite a bit. Currently, a group of people followed each other along with a certain maid of an unknown faction. They secretly walked through the dark corridors to a dead end located in a hidden corner that few people noticed. She bent down, groping for something on the rough wall. After a while, the brick was removed to reveal a strange knob. The woman twisted the knob, whispering the password in a language that did not belong to any country. A few seconds later, the knob retracted, and the entire wall moved slightly to reveal a tiny stone door. Indeed, the entrance is so small that it can only fit one person at a time. And that person still struggles to bring their whole body in smoothly. The maid went in first to check for safety, followed by a group of people accompanying her. Inside the door is a small, narrow white room. As soon as it receives light, it slowly expands until it is big enough so that no one has to touch the ceiling with their head. It took about 10 minutes for a few more miscellaneous items to appear, and in the end, it turned out that this place was a storage room. She said this place must have what the group was looking for. So they spread out to search around. In the group, there was also the magician. He meticulously examined each brick and then flipped each item back and forth to break the witch's body exchange spell. Suddenly, the maid who was standing and watching over them quietly slipped out of the room, no one paying attention to her. After leaving that cramped place, she stuck her head in to check again and then quickly closed the door. Just lock the door, and the room would quickly shrink until it crushed the people inside. To make sure no one could escape, after turning the knob, the maid also used the witch's key to lock it more carefully. But after struggling for so long, the key still wouldn't fit into the lock. No matter how many times she turned the key over and over again. Oh, so it turned out the lock was wrong. In addition to the main drive, there are 1 or 2 other fake drives to buy time and bad luck when she falls for this trick. Suddenly, she heard footsteps behind her. Who was it? At this moment, she was very panicked. It seemed that the people inside had discovered the disappearance of the maid. Put the key in and rotate it. It seems to work. She cheered up. But then her smile faded when the latch wouldn't be pulled out, even if she tried a few more times. At this moment, the owner of the footsteps placed his hand on her shoulder, hoarsely reminding her that she needed to turn one more time to lock the door. Oh, damn! Now there was no time left. Behind the door, a group of people began to pound continuously to be released. It will be on time, right? Just use her strength to hold the door tightly and then turn the right number of turns in time. Yes, she will do it. The clock bell rang again. The fairy hurriedly left the book, even though she hadn't read the ending yet. She needed to quickly pull the minute hand back to its correct time, or trouble would arise. The fairy closed the book, quickly flew to the clock tower, and hid there, waiting for the librarian to open the window so she could escape. That book, perhaps tonight she will read it again from the beginning.